Thank you, please. Thank you. What an extraordinary kind of evening. Not just for me and my family, but really for the public service of Canada. It really is remarkable, and I think it's certainly something that I will never forget and will always treasure. But I think as well public servants really will appreciate the messages about how kind of business, academics, elected representatives, and others value and validate the work that they do. So thank you, and on their behalf, thank you as well. It really is an extraordinary kind of messages from all of you. Et Paul, merci pour ces bons mots qui me touchent particulièrement, parce qu'elles viennent d'une personne qui comprend en profondeur le rôle et la vie des autres fonctionnaires et les fonctions et la vie d'un greffier. Les personnes qui ont pris la parole ce soir sont tous des leaders politiques, des chefs d'entreprise, des universitaires et des fonctionnaires exceptionnels. Et c'est un honneur et un privilège pour moi d'avoir travaillé avec vous toutes au long de ma carrière, à améliorer nos politiques publiques et à faire ma part pour que le Canada soit toujours un exemple de réussite. And thank you, and thanks to everyone who offered such generous remarks, such exaggerated stories and best wishes of the evening. As Yogi Berra once observed, half the lies they tell aren't true. Le Premier ministre Harper a fait preuve d'une grande confiance envers moi, mais aussi envers notre fonction publique fédérale, lorsqu'il a nommé à titre de 20e greffier de conseil privé et secrétaire du cabinet quelqu'un de l'intérieur qu'il ne connaissait pas et avec qui il n'avait jamais travaillé. Les 3 dernières années et demie ont vu une combinaison d'événements assez remarquables. In a truly remarkable 3.5 years, a new government, a fractious minority parliament, a war in Afghanistan, global security problems, a new U.S. administration, a global financial crisis, and a worldwide recession. Truly a remarkable period for all public servants and elected representatives. And working with Mr. Harper over this period and on these challenges was a fascinating experience, and I've always appreciated his constant support. C'est le Premier ministre Chrétien, comme il a mentionné, qui m'a nommé à mon premier poste de sous-ministre à l'Industrie Canada en 1995. Il m'a ensuite nommé sous-ministre des Finances en 2000. Je vous remercie, M. Chrétien, de votre présence ce soir, de votre généreuse intervention, pas seulement de mon part, mais aussi du côté de la fonction publique du Canada, et du soutien que vous avez donné aux diverses politiques auxquelles j'ai travaillé comme sous-ministre de l'Industrie et des Finances. Now, I'd like to, since Mr. Chrétien told a number of stories, if I may reminisce a little bit, I do remember, to this day, my first meeting with Prime Minister Chrétien after I was appointed Deputy Minister of Finance. The Prime Minister's office called and said that the Prime Minister wanted to see me that afternoon about the fiscal monitor. Many of you have probably never heard of the fiscal monitor. As a good bureaucrat, I immediately organized a briefing with the finance team, wondering what the problem was with the fiscal monitor and why the Prime Minister of Canada was so urgently interested. The briefing, as always, was comprehensive. No one could identify an obvious problem with the recently published fiscal monitor, and the advice from my staff was that if I couldn't answer a specific technical question, indicate that the cause was special factors. Well, that's pretty good. So, I dutifully, Eddie, I think, is starting to remember this story now. I dutifully presented myself at the Prime Minister's office at the appointed hour, was ushered in, noticed with great trepidation that I would be the only person in the room with the Prime Minister, with a lone chair placed in front of the Prime Minister's massive desk. Sitting in the middle of that desk, all alone, was the fiscal monitor. The Prime Minister turned immediately to the offending page in the fiscal monitor, pointed to the debt servicing cost number, and said in what seemed to me a booming voice, "Mr. Lynch, this fiscal monitor indicates that our debt interest payments are rising while our debt is declining. That's hard to understand. It's even harder to explain to the public what is going on." There was a pause. And just as I was about to launch into my best economist's answer, Mr. Chrétien thundered, "And don't tell me special factors." I learned much from that first meeting and have never forgotten. Frank McKenna, who has always been a great supporter of the value and importance of a strong, nonpartisan professional public service, whether as Premier of New Brunswick, Ambassador of Canada to the United States of America, or as a business leader. Very much like the Public Policy Forum, he deeply believes in the importance to Canada of ongoing dialogue between private and public sector leaders. And he very much walks that talk, which I've always appreciated and always benefited from. Thank you, Frank. John Manley, who has been my minister several times, a friend a long time, and someone with whom our long collaboration at Industry Canada produced a number of policies of which I am extremely proud, including strengthening our university research capacity in Canada, which a number of you were very to comment on, promoting innovation in a more knowledge-based economy, and getting Canada front and center of the communications revolution of the 1990s. It was a really great partnership, and I appreciate your comments tonight, John. Don Mazankowski, who inspired, I believe, a generation of public servants with his values, with his dedication to the country, his ability to create consensus for tough policy decisions, and his decency and respect for all with whom he has worked. He's truly a remarkable Canadian. Heather Monroe Bloom, who exemplifies, like Indira and Robert Lacroix, the importance of universities and university leadership if Canada is to succeed in today's competitive global research environment for innovation breakthroughs, for highly skilled people, and for the products and services of tomorrow. Heather, Indira, Robert, and others like Rob Pritchett and Martha Piper have been instrumental in making research and development and innovation the top of mind public policy issues which they deserve to be, and the country benefits. Mike Lazaridis, who I've known for a long time, and Jacques Lemaire equally, who have both demonstrated, and I think this is really important, have both demonstrated that Canada and Canadians can grow world-class firms from a Canadian base using Canadian technology with Canadian talent. We can do it because you have done it. Both stress excellence in everything they do, both respect the value of a professional public service, and both understand that in this global world in which we compete, good public policy is essential if Canadian business is to succeed abroad as well as here at home. Thank you both for your comments. Eddie Goldenberg, a very good friend who has always recognized the importance of a strong public policy capacity and a strong public service, and who worked easily and productively with many senior public servants over many years, always respecting the different roles of political staff and public servants. Now, in his kind remarks tonight, Eddie is trying to make some amends for a story he tells in his book about me driving my daughter to university and the impacts of that trip in my absence on the fiscal costs of the first health care agreement. You have to read his book, and actually Eddie's getting a free plug from his book, which he now owes me for it.